Evening, everyone. Hello. Hello. Is there anybody out there? Welcome. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Welcome to the launch of the 2015 APG Awards. There's a hashtag here, hashtag APG Awards 2015. If you do want to tweet about it, you're more than welcome to, although you might want to keep all the advice you are about to hear to yourselves. I'll leave that up to you. So we've got a packed night. We'll be here for about an hour, learning how to win an APG award. And then we're going to have some drinks and a bit of a party at the end, so you can all ask the guys questions and we can mill around and discuss our potential papers. But I'd just like to start with a few thank yous, if I may. The first big thank you is to Luis Toledo, over there, who's going to speak in a few minutes. He's the Strategic Planning Director of JWT LATAM. He oversees 13 markets brilliantly, I have to say, because he's multi-awarded for his planning in many international competitions. And he's, well, I feel like Holly Willoughby on Surprise Surprise. He's flown in specially to talk to us about his Grand Prix winning paper from the 2013 awards. I'm sure you've all read it. But if any of you haven't, he's going to take us through it. It was on the subject of Banco Popular. I'm sure you all know it's a fantastic paper, and he's very kindly come to share that with us. So we'll do some Q&As at the end for both Luis and Craig around the details of the awards. Please ask any of the burning questions you've got. You know, now is your chance. I'd also like to thank Google, our title sponsor. We're delighted to say that Google have renewed their partnership with the APG for another 2 years. And to thank you, as always, to them for hosting tonight and for inspiring bold exchanges within the planning community. It's always brilliant when we all get together for Noisy Thinking and other events here as a group in Google's town hall. So thank you, Google. Also, some very specific thank yous to other sponsors we have. Denise Williams, can't see Denise, she's here. Hi Denise. A long-term and much prized partner of the APG and these awards, and someone who has helped develop many, many planning careers throughout the years. I'm sure many of you know her. And again, Denise is going to be sponsoring one of the special prizes in the awards, as will be the nursery. So thank you to a new partner with the APG. The nursery are going to be sponsoring the award. And hello, Lucy. We're delighted to be working with the nursery. They're such a fantastic agency, great pedigree, very strategic, and fantastic creative flair. So welcome and thank you. Also to ThinkBox, who sponsored last year, and we're pleased to say that they've renewed their sponsorship again. ThinkBox, again, another fantastic partner. And just to thank all of you for coming tonight, really, for paying attention to the awards and wanting to learn more about how you can construct the very best papers, the very best entries, and tell the best stories when you do that. It's a sellout event again tonight, and we've got a waiting list, so thank you for making the effort to come on Thursday night, and have a drink together at the end. Craig Maudsley is going to talk a little bit more about the details and the logistics of the awards. But before we get onto that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of context on the overall theme for the awards, because you may know that we have a different theme every time we run the awards, and the awards run every 2 years. Can I have the next slide, please? I've got a clicker. Thank you. And so the overall theme of the awards for 2015 is strategies with influence. So just to explain how this came about, what we want to do is to judge these awards on the strength of, yes, the strategic thinking that went into the brief, but also what real influence was created as a result of the work, but also the strategic thinking. Put simply, we're looking for evidence of strategic influence, not just strategic thinking. Were many of you at the APG annual conference last year? Did any of you come to that? Ah, Mary. I knew Mary was there. Well, okay, I'll just explain. At that conference, Professor Sir Lawrence Freedman gave an absolutely outstanding talk on the nature and history of strategy. Anybody who hasn't read his book, by the way, Strategy History, please do so. It's a long book, but well worth sticking with it. And he reminded us all that no battle strategy ever survives contact with the enemy. In fact, the overall theme of the whole day became the need to more closely connect strategy that one sets out with, the deliberate strategy, to the ever-evolving and changing circumstances that reality really then sort of imposes on your strategy when you put it into action. And we asked Ben Malbon from Google in New York to come over, and he talked on the same theme really, because he identified something called Emergent Strategy. He described it as the messy, scrappy, iterative strategic thinking that's necessitated in a really sort of complex, real-time world of data. So in a nutshell, you know, the successful and ongoing operationalization of a strategy is just as important as the theoretical framework that you set out with at the beginning, you know, that sets you on the initial course. And in the awards in 2015, we really want to reflect that and account for it. So to recognise that strategy creates influence, not just from the beginning, it doesn't begin and it certainly doesn't end with a well thought through PowerPoint presentation. I think we're all, you know, cognizant of that. In fact, strategy never stops. It's a continually evolving thing that happens in the real time, happens in the real world. So the question you might think about when you're working out whether you've got a paper to submit, and I'm sure everybody here has got at least one paper to submit, is probably, where did our strategy create a disproportionate influence on events? And the answer to that might take a variety of forms. So just to give you some examples, you might say, did your strategy influence an organisational culture, practices, or did it positively affect the morale of employees? That would make for a pretty good paper. Did your strategy bring about the transformation of a category, or did it change how people perceived or considered that category and you? Did your strategy influence the creation of partnerships of some kind? Perhaps your strategy even influenced the political agenda. I think what we're saying at the APG is that it's not enough anymore for brands to just embark on a traditional advertising campaign, stick a load of TVRs behind it, and hope for the best. How did your strategy start, but then how did it continue to create a positive influence either on consumers, on employees, on the whole category, or perhaps even just on other competitors, or even the wider society as a whole and the world around us? And how might your strategy be continuing to do that? And you're ensuring that it does that as time moves on. So, just to be really clear, we're not looking for proof of, you know, ROI in terms of return on financial investment. That's not what the APG Awards is about. We are looking for return on intellectual investment. That your strategy helped a brand or a product or your client in the end get more out of a situation than you thought you'd have going into it. And that really is what we mean by strategies with influence. So Craig Maudsley, who I'm sure you all know is the joint CSO of AMV, is going to give us a bit more background on the logistics, how you enter a paper, a bit about the juries, how it's going to be marked, and also key dates that you'll need to be aware of. And we'll do a Q&A at the end. So think about any questions you've got. Please do ask them tonight. But I'd like to hand over to Craig Maudsley, who'll take us through the details.